ruler of the senses. He possesses a bluish-black form resembling a lotus flower growing in the autumn. He is found slowly by the yogis. Prabhupada explains how that by controlling the mind, and one can then see the Lord, Aniruddha. And they're giving the description. Prabhupada gives a nice description. He stated that Aniruddha is four-handed with Sudarshana Chakra, conch shell, club, and lotus flower. There are 24 forms of Vishnu, each differently named. Among these 24 forms, Shankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva are depicted very nicely in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it is stated that Aniruddha is worshipped by the yogis.
Because yogis mainly focus on mind control.
Yogi is basically to control the mind, ultimately, right? You withdraw the senses, and so therefore the system of yoga means, ultimately yoga means to control our mind. Even bhakti also, we control the mind so that we can focus on Krishna or service to Krishna. So then Prabhupada gives, he says, let's see, meditation upon voidness is a modern invention. Okay, this is something people came about through speculation. It's not what is described in the Yoga Sutras or anywhere. Maybe it's written in a way that ordinary person cannot understand. But if it's understood in the Parampara way, then they explain that one has to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So actually, Prabhupada says the process of yoga meditation should be fixed upon the form of Aniruddha. Okay. And this is a prescription. If our mind is very difficult, the best way to calm our mind is to focus on Aniruddha. Okay. When one's mind is fixed upon Aniruddha, one gradually becomes God realized. So, for us, how often we think of Krishna, how often we think of the deities, right? Maybe less than a minute. Huh?
Not very often.
Not often. The point is, we don't even focus for less than 10 seconds? Right?
Yeah.
So the meditation means it's longer, at least 2-3 minutes. And samadhi means you're talking about 20 over minutes, at least. So the practice is to start meditating at least, Like when you go to the temple, you see the deities, and after that you sit down and then you try to remember how the deities looked. We have no time, right? So many things to do. So that's why Prabhupada says gradually one becomes purified. So therefore the word is shanai, gradually. Then you can focus. Takes time. It's not going to be, the next day you get it like that. Of course, if you have been doing it for many lifetimes, you can do it in the last life. You can, make it perfect. But otherwise, it takes a long time, and practice is important. Text 29. Taijasatu vikurvana buddhi tattvam abhutsati dravya spurana vijnanam indriyanam anugraha. By transformation of the false ego in passion. So this is the whole thing that we are now trying to read and understand is Kapila Dev's explanation of the creation. Okay, we've seen different explanations. Remember
Brahma.
Vidura, then remember Brahma, then Narada, then Vidura, Maitreya Rishi. So this in the third canto, this is the last, and this is from a Sankhya point of view. Okay, means basically the elements, all the different elements, so the mind, the senses. So now he's saying how the false ego, when it combines with passion, what the results are. So by transformation of the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. O virtuous lady, the functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and to help the senses. Already it makes sense. The intelligence is to help the senses. The senses are active, mode of passion. So intelligence helps those things. Now, sometimes people, like, yesterday I was asking, right? People want to know, if intelligence is higher than the mind, why is it in the mode of passion? And then Prabhu said,
It's planning enjoyment.
it's planning for enjoyment. So that is one thing. Srila Prabhupada writes within the Bhagavatam, in many places, Prabhupada gives us understanding what this is. He says the intelligence refers to the power to analyze things. Okay, discrimination. According to the perspective, proper perspective, and the ability to understand and to apply when necessary. That is intelligence. Then he says the living entity requires intelligence. What is that? He needs that intelligence to survive. Where is he surviving? In the material world. So intelligence is used to counteract the struggles, the hard struggle for existence. And it's assisted by the senses. Okay, so this is how they interact with one another. Okay. And the senses are used for what? No, acquiring knowledge. Okay. And he maintains himself by manipulating the active organs like legs and hands. Therefore, for the living entity to be active, all these senses headed by the intelligence are generated from the transformation of mode of passion in false ego.
So if you look at all the modern devices, they are designed to keep us active all the time.
Yeah.
Like the iPhones and
Twitter.
Yeah, everything. No?
So that there's no free time.
Yeah. So intelligence is the discriminating power to understand an object, and it helps the senses make choices. So therefore, you can see it is in the mode of passion. Now, the another thing is the acharyas. I don't have a quote, but I've heard that the acharyas say that this intelligence that we have is sensuous intelligence. So therefore, of buddhi, this intelligence is sensuous. So therefore, it is in the mode of passion also, or comes up from the transformation of the false ego in passion. Now, yeah.
In 10.10, when Krishna says, Krishna Sattva, I'll give you the knowledge, right? That intelligence is different then, right?
Yes. It's purified intelligence.
Non-sensuous.
It's a purified intelligence. Huh?
It is non-sensuous.
Yeah, it is non-sensuous. It's more connecting through your true nature. This intelligence is to satisfy our senses. To enjoy the material world, or to find the best way to overcome difficulties so that our senses can be satisfied. So therefore, yeah. But at the same time, if you look at the group of human beings, we're all human beings, but among us, one of them, someone is in the mode of goodness. Someone is in the mode of passion. So similarly, also among the senses, the mind is superior. And then among the subtle senses, then the higher than the mind is intelligence, like that. So there are categories within each category also. So we can also understand like that also. And so Prabhupada says the perfection of intelligence is attained when one becomes fixed in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Okay, text 30. Samsayotha viparyaso
Samsayotha viparyaso
nischaya smritir evacha
Nishchaya smritireva cha
swapa iti uchyate buddhe
Svapati uchyate buddhe
lakshanam vrittita pritak.
Lakshanam vrittita pratak.
Doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory, and sleep, as determined by their different functions, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. So this is, all functions of intelligence. Yeah. If you don't have sleep helps you become intelligent.
Oh,
Yeah.
especially for children.
Yeah, children especially to develop their intelligence, brain, you can say like that. Brain. Just excuse me, I'll come back. Yes.
Sleep is good. Sleep is good. 10 hours.
That's sleep.
No, don't think that sleep is good for this and kids.
Very
For
right.
kids, Mataji said for kids. Only for kids.
No, it doesn't say anything. Don't. No
Prabhu ji said.
speculation.
Prabhu ji said.
Very Prabhupada said.
I can show you what Prabhu said. No sleep. You can stop or you can keep continuing.
I wanted to ask you this last time Nityananda Prabhu sent a playlist or something, like Canto 3 or Canto 2, just one link we all have to say, and all the classes will go in there.
I can send them.
That's easier, no? Because I will not remember this after 6 months all the weeks. Thank you. So I can save that in Internet Explorer somewhere.
Or in YouTube, we could put everything into one playlist.
Playlist,
It's a playlist.
a channel actually.
Channel.
Channel.
Radha Prabhu channel.
We have a channel. I started one for Prabhu's class.
What is it? YouTube.
They're talking about like a YouTube channel where you just go into that channel and listen in sequence.
That's good. Organized.
We should have one channel for you also.
Everybody has watched.
He already has a channel.
You can stop it.
He already has a
Stop.
channel.
There is no class.
No balls. Okay, let's read the previous verse. Hare Krishna Prabhu. My classmate of Prabhu. Yeah, Bhakti Raghunatha में 4 पेज पे है.
Right, so sleep is also
Sorry, Prabhu.
required for the intelligence. Prabhupada says in the purport, doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. And he gives the reason. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. But when you are exposed to Shastra, that is the best intelligence. And if you doubt that, then you have a difficulty. For the doubting soul, there is no happiness in this or in the next world. Prabhupada says, in order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. And he says the same thing as I mentioned. If you receive from scripture, you shouldn't doubt it. By intelligence, in the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, only can one understand whether or not he is the body. Right? All of us came to a conclusion that we are not the body because we are applying the intelligence. The study to determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. When one is able to analyze his actual position, the false identification with the body is detected. This is viparyasa. When false identification is detected, then real identification can be understood. Smriti means memory and swapa means sleep. Sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there's no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. So therefore you have to eat, sleep and recreation. Okay. Properly. All must be regulated. Text 31. Taijasandriyani eva kriya jnana vibhagashaha pranasya hi kriya shaktir buddhir vijnana shaktita. Egoism in the mode of passion produces two kinds of senses. The senses for acquiring knowledge and the senses of action. The senses of action depend on the vital energy and the senses for acquiring knowledge depend on intelligence.
What is vital energy?
Walking, you're using a lot of
Physical.
physical prana, right? So like that. Again, Prabhupada discusses about the mind. He's connecting how all of them are working together. Right? So the function of the mind is acceptance and rejection according to desire. But here intelligence is said to be the product of ego and passion. That is the distinction between mind and intelligence. Mind is a product of egoism in goodness and intelligence is a product of egoism in passion. The desire to accept something and reject something is a very important factor of the mind. And this is based on desire, accept and reject. Okay. Since mind is a product of the mode of goodness, if it is fixed upon the Lord of the mind, Aniruddha, then the mind can be changed to Krishna consciousness. We always have desires, according to Narottam Das Thakur. So desire cannot be stopped, irregardless what position we are in. Desire is always there. But the desire must be connected to the Supreme Personality of God. Otherwise, our desire will go to lording over material nature. So that is the recommendation Prabhupada is saying.
Is the quality of soul also right?
Quality of soul is to be happy.
Yeah, so desire is inherent when
It is always there. To be happy means you desire to be happy. Right? Yeah. So desire has to be purified, Prabhupada says. And the way it's purified is through our Krishna conscious sadhana bhakti, like that. And practicing sadhana bhakti will rise us to the mode of goodness. That's what the whole idea Prabhupada is talking. And then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, both kinds of senses, the senses for acquiring knowledge and senses for action, are products of egoism in the mode of passion. And because the sense organs for activity and for acquiring knowledge require energy, the vital energy or life energy is also produced by egoism in the mode of passion. So, using your hand, walking, running, like that, all these you need a lot of physical energy. So they are also produced from the mode of passion. Active. Passion is always active. You need passion to do things. Okay, if you don't have, you cannot do it properly. Then Prabhupada says, this is a very interesting thing that Prabhupada writes here. We can actually see, therefore, that those who are very passionate can improve in material acquisition very quickly. Because they put their energy into it, a lot of energy, and then they apply their intelligence in that. So this is passion. And they acquire, easily. And then Prabhupada continues, it is recommended in the Vedic scriptures that if one wants to encourage a person in acquiring material possessions, one should also encourage him in sex life. What does it mean?
They're both related.
No, that means get married, have a family. So then he'll take care of the family with his passionate nature, and so he'll acquire material things to support that. And because it's according to Vedic system, it is all connected to Krishna. That's why it is good for such people. Otherwise, if they don't do that, then they will be just unregulated, against scripture, dharma virodhi, right?
So even if they are not grihasthas, even as a Grihamedi, it's still in Krishna system and you help them purify?
We can help them if they are not in following Krishna system. We can, just like many of them don't follow, but they come to temple for guidance and so on. So you can help them like that. Say, okay, fasting before we do yagna. So like that, okay, why don't you get married? It's better for you. Otherwise, if the man is not getting married, then he or she will be, going around, Varna Shankaras, all those things come about. So we can encourage such people. We understand, he is very passionate. Yeah.
So you said that as in the mode of passion, they start doing material advancement. But without the karmic background, they will not be able to do anything anyways, right?
But they will work for it, no? The point is they have the passion to work for it. They may not get the big house, but they'll get a house.
Okay.
Right? Karma only says how good the thing or how bad it is. But you're going to get it. Whether what kind of house you do not know. If your karma is you're going to get $1 million, doesn't mean you get $1 million one time. It can be over your entire lifetime you get $1,000. So you got your $1 million like that.
Like in previous times, about 100 years ago, people had simple homes. Now they are having more complex homes.
Yeah.
Because of mode of passion, but
it's the same. Even them that time also they had mode of passion, but because it's all perspective, no?
Maybe perspective, old homes were more great.
How much they will have what? Or maybe it's a small home, you may say, but they may be the biggest home in the village.
It's all relative.
Right? Yeah. Or they may have a better material.
Some
Right?
other-
Most people may have a hut made from wood and so on. So this man may have made from mortar, brick, like the clay. Yeah. So things just change. It's just like now everyone says they're earning more, but actually it's relative, You just push back the whole thing, It's still the same. So why keep increasing pay? Why don't we just push it back and just put it in the same scale? No, because they cannot see that. That's passionate. They want to see it grow. And
actually people say we are making more or anything, but actually it's the same thing.
is the same?
Everybody has the same house. They have to go to work, come back, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
cycle is same.
Well, they see it differently. They think because I'm not sleeping in a village, I'm advanced. That's the difference. Right? Like in the old system, you sit on the floor. Now you sit on like sofas and so on. So that is advancement. That's a conception only. It's just the way you see life itself. Yeah. But what we need to understand is, okay, you may say this advanced life, but then you have to see how happy an individual is comparatively. That's how you see. You say advancement, but then you have to see in comparison, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, my grandparents were living like they were much happier than how I am, even though I have all the facilities. Therefore, you can say this life is not really a better life. Yeah.
It's more endeavoring also. It's exhausting.
Yeah, now they make you over endeavor. That's true.
In Sammamish Highlands, there was an advertisement: work and live spaces, which means there's internet connection everywhere. And there is power plugs everywhere throughout the house, so that you can work they can work in the kitchen, work in the living room, work in the bedroom. It's always power endeavoring.
Uh-huh.
Strapping.
Yeah, it's a trap. I mean, the whole life is now changed. The ideology is all changed. Because they don't have any culture or goal of life no more. What is the goal of life? Sense enjoyment. That's all. And if sense enjoyment is the goal of life, then whatever I need to do to satisfy my senses, that's what they focus. And the whole economy, everything is structured around senses. So basically, Prabhupada's point is, this is the psychology of a materialistic person, and their life is centered around sex life and material possessions. So it is different from one who's cultivating culture and spiritual life. It's different, right? Because anarya, remember Krishna says, you're not culture. What does that culture means? There's a certain set of behaviors that determines who's cultured, and a certain set of behaviors who's uncultured. So controlling senses and so on determines a cultured person. You see the difference? So society, you have to see it like that. Otherwise, you don't know how to relate to people. You see, oh, so this person comes. And uncultured in those days means Yavanas, Milachas, all this. What does it mean? Because they don't have a strict life, barbaric life, anything. But it's centered on sense gratification. So if you want to become closer, remember this is because everything is coming from different elements, but they are connected to Krishna in different ways. Like the mind is connected to Aniruddha like that. So this is culture, so we know the reason why we have to do certain things. Right? We know why we have to do certain things. And then why do you chant?
Come closer to God.
That's why when one who's very serious about his spiritual life, when he wants to chant, he says, don't disturb me. Okay? You see the difference? Because he wants to be,
With Krishna.
yeah, closer to Krishna. By understanding in Sankhya, they did it. But really, why they know that they shouldn't do, yet they did it. Why?
Independence, feel free will.
Exactly. So free will is what causes all this mess. All right. So that creates the ego. All right. So here, Prabhupada says the objects of our sense gratification are the products of egoism in ignorance. So all the senses are coming from here. It is understood from this verse that by agitation of the element of egoism in ignorance, the first thing we produced was sound, which is the subtle form of ether. Okay. So sound is the subtle, more subtle than ether.
So sound is coming from mode of ignorance, or the false ego in the mode of ignorance. At the same time, sound can also rescue us back to God, like the chanting of the mantra.
Yeah.
So if the sound is in the mode of ignorance, how is the mantra able to relieve us?
There is a pure mantra. Mantra is not the material sound.
So this is only material sound.
Yes. But it's all coming from the Supreme Lord, originally. Everything is a product of the Lord. It just gets more mixed with the material energy. You understand? Yeah.
Or when mixed with the material energy, it becomes a material sound.
Yes, like that. It is stated also in the Vedanta Sutra that sound is the origin of all objects of material possession, and that by sound one can also dissolve this material existence. Anavriti Sabda means liberation by sound. So that's what you were asking. Same thing, Prabhupada. The entire material manifestation began from sound. So your point about Big Bang, yeah. So you shout. In fact, in the beginning there is the word in the Bible. They say like that. So the sound.
Key is the Krishna's energy attached to it.
Yes, and sound can also end material entity if it has a particular potency. So you're asking about that. The particular sound capable of doing this is the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna. Our entanglement in material affairs has begun from material sound. So you see, there is spiritual sound, transcendental sound, and material sound. Now we must purify that sound in spiritual understanding. So we are trying to follow the Hare Krishna mantra. which is coming from the spiritual world. So everything will be purified if you follow nicely.
Golokira Namadana Harinam.
We have to understand very clearly that sound is the beginning of the creation of all material objects for our sense gratification. And similarly, if sound is purified, our spiritual necessities also are produced from sound. So therefore, you have to make sure you hear everything transcendental things. Right? Like, Bollywood, all those are not transcendent. They will hold you down. They'll bind you back into the material desires. If sound is purified, Prabhupada say, our spiritual necessities also are produced from sound. Okay, sound causes sky, and then from that sky the ear is developed. Ear is the first sense for receiving knowledge. So whether you want to have material knowledge or spiritual knowledge, you have to hear first. That's Prabhupada's point. So Shruti means knowledge that you hear, Shruti.
So it's like assembly of a robot. First the soul is put, then given a ear, given the sense of sight, and now you go do whatever you want to do.
I mean, it happens very
Quickly.
Yeah. And then it happens slowly. I mean, it's already subtle, in a subtle sense. All these are subtle. No? In compared to gross, all these are still on a higher level, elemental level. When you take birth, then you get all the physical, more gross ears, gross hearing.
From that template.
Yes, you can say template, yeah. Like the Virat Rupa template, and then based on that, the type of hearing. So you can see a dog hearing is more superior than a human hearing. Right? The dog smells 100,000 times more than a person, something like that. Or 100,000 different things they can smell. We can smell only maybe 15,000 or 5,000 or something like that. But it's all based on the Virat Rupa, the ears, the smelling potency, everything. So in there Prabhupada talks about how in the modern society everybody does for the material, but they hear that they can transform and they do all these things, but just simply by hearing. Okay. So towards the end, Prabhupada say hearing is very important, and that hearing is produced from the sky. By hearing only can we make proper use of which already exists. Two persons can see the same thing. One person will use it differently because they have heard differently, right? Correct or not? If you only, if let's say somebody put milk and go away, and two persons could do something with it. So one person will make yogurt from it, another person will just drink it. Or they can use it differently. But then it all depends on your knowledge you have, and knowledge can only be acquired by hearing. Yeah. You actually, when you read, you will not get this full information than when you hear someone tell you. And when someone tell you, if you're not hearing, then you don't get that knowledge, right? It's different, no?
I have had that experience where, like, during my exams and all, like when I was studying, if I study, actually, maybe I won't remember, but if somebody actually tells me,
then
even if I don't read, in the exam I can go and write very nicely.
Right, because you remember. Yeah. So hearing helps remembering.
That's Lord Brahma saying, right? First he hears.
Yes, even Brahma also. First thing is hearing.
Papa.
Yeah, so therefore we have to hear spiritual knowledge from proper spiritual source. Prabhupada says. Text 23. Arthashrayatvam sabdasya
Ardhashrayatvam sabdasya
drashtulingatvam cha
drashtulingatvam
tanmatratvam cha nabasho lakshanam kavayo vidu. Persons who are learned and who have true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screen from our view, and constitutes the subtle form of ether. It is very clear herein that as soon as we speak of hearing, there must be a speaker. Without a speaker, there's no question of hearing. So Shruti or Vedas must be heard. We can't just say, I know what to do.
Illusion, cheating propensity, tendency to make mistakes.
Imperfect senses. And as you were saying, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adika. So there. So in the beginning also, Brahma also heard that. That's how he became learned. Right? Isn't it? When you go to a new company and you join, you don't know how to do. The person there before you knows everything, and then you hear from that person. Yeah. Even if they show you, you ask why and so on. So you have to hear, and then you know how to apply. It's like that. Prabhupada says whenever there is learning, there must be a speaker and the process of hearing. Very important. So whenever you want to learn, you must hear properly. So for example, when gurus come and so on, when they are giving pravachan, if you want to learn, you have to hear properly. Simply going there to show your presence is not learning. It may be just to make sure you get your attendance marked by your spiritual master or whatever. But that is not the learning process. Learning means you actually go there to hear what they say and apply after that. Prabhupada asks a few interesting questions in this purport. He says, whenever there's learning, there must be a speaker and process of hearing. But Brahma was the first created being. Who spoke to him? Since no one was there who was the spiritual master to give knowledge. He was the only living creature. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge was imparted within his heart by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone as Paramatma. Because people will argue, right? You will see. They say, how? Brahma all alone, and then where he got the knowledge from? They'll argue like that. It doesn't say, I never read Krishna came and taught him how you can say. So now you know how to answer. Hridaya Adika, in the heart, revealed in the heart.
A different way of transferring information.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the first time it's transferred. It's through the heart. Then after that, it's through the ear. But Krishna also plays the flute where Brahma hears in his right ear. Kama Gayatri. Yeah. Okay. So that there is impact. Just that you don't see the person. And then Prabhupada talks even, it's very interesting. He talks about the parampara, but then in the next paragraph he says, every word we hear has a meaning behind it. As soon as we hear the word water, there is a substance, water, behind the word. Similarly, as soon as we hear the word God, there is a meaning to it. If you receive that meaning and explanation of God from God Himself, then it is perfect. So you're supposed to understand through Guru Parampara. You can't speculate about God. Okay. When in doubt, you have to go and ask. You cannot speculate. You can think about it, but then you cannot believe your conclusion is correct. Why we can't do that? Yeah, we are imperfect, defective. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so then you manufacture a defective idea. Yeah. And then Prabhupada talks about in the next paragraph, when we speak of seeing, there must be form. By our sense perception, the beginning experience is the sky. Sky is the beginning of form. So he's talking about ether, then sky. And from the sky, other forms emanate. The objects of knowledge, the sense perception, begin therefore from the sky. So both ways, you're reading Kapila Muni's description. At the same time, you're getting Prabhupada's vast knowledge from the acharyas and so on, how to appreciate what Kapila Muni is saying. Because we can't, it's too technical. From our, at least from my point of view, the Kali Yuga method, it's very hard to understand, Yeah, it's too technical for us. Even with diagrams and all, it's still difficult, because they are too subtle for our intellect. So therefore, we have to accept certain things if we don't understand for now, and then purify ourselves. Come back, you'll find, oh, it makes sense. And then not only that, there are so many other devotees who see different, at least from our point of view, we don't have the Acharya's notes and so on. So some of the Maharajas or people who are doing research, over the years they'll say this is what it is. More information will be given. Yeah. So yesterday they were asking about the Chitta, right? I'll read from Gurujan Prabhu.
What was the question?
He wanted to know what Chitta and intelligence.
The
Conscious.
false ego and consciousness. The consciousness contaminated consciousness.
Consciousness,
Which is contaminated by the material energy. Like in the...
Okay, later. So here, Gurujan Prabhu gives a summary of understanding Mahatattva, Chitta, and Chitta. The Mahatattva is the aggregate samasta of consciousness. Remember in the 5th chapter we studied aggregate, because all the living entities are coming with their desires. This is the Virat Rupa. Prabhupada refers to this aggregate in his purport as the shadow of pure consciousness, and in his word-for-word translation of Bhagavatam in 3:26:19 as cosmic intelligence. That's what you ask. This same consciousness, when referring to an individual, personal self, is called Chitta. Okay. Sridhar Swami explains this in his commentary to Bhagavatam, verse 21 in this chapter. This clear Sattva Guna consciousness, the basic consciousness of the conditioned soul, will later be vitiated with false ego and manifest in living entities. Okay, that consciousness is mixed with the false ego, with the different modes. And the rest is about Shuddha Sattva and so on. Yeah. And then in the commentary in text 22, Sridhar Swami calls Swachatvam clarity the characteristics of pure Chitta. Perfect transparency, Swachatva, means the state of holding the reflection or shadow of Bhagavan, Jiva Goswami concurs, consciousness can perceive a portion or shadow of the Lord, not completely. Both thus support Prabhupada's statement about consciousness in material goodness. In pure consciousness, one can perceive a slight reflection of the Supreme Personality of God. If you are in pure consciousness, one can see the reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one can see his own existence as well when you come to a pure consciousness.
So I recall Suhatra Maharaj was saying that this is the example of a light.
Yeah.
So the light bulb is like the soul, and then there is a layer. Let's say we put a film,
Yes.
a red film. So that is false ego.
Ego.
And then the reflection, which is the lights, then it will be all red.
Yes.
So that is contaminated consciousness.
Consciousness. Yeah.
So that is chitta.
Yeah.
So that conquers it.
I think another example was like the water dropping from the sky when it touches the ground,
Mhm.
it get contaminated.
Contaminated. Yeah, that's also. So there's two examples. One is a light bulb covered by a colored paper. So everything is reflected through that color. That is the consciousness, which is chitta. The original consciousness is pure, but it's contaminated. Then the other one Prabhu is saying is Prabhupada gives the example of water in the sky. It's pure, but as soon as it touches the ground, it's contaminated. But still, it has the purity there. But it's contaminated. So our vision is like that. So creation is still continuing up to. All these are based on the combination of false ego and the material modes of nature to create different levels, different senses. Text 34. Bhuthanam chidra datritvam bahirantaram evacha pranindriyatma dishnyatvam navaso vritti lakshanam. The activities and characteristics of the ethereal element can be observed as accommodation for the room for the external and internal existence of all living entities, namely the field of activities of the vital air, the senses, and the mind. So what does it mean? So Prabhupada explains, the mind, the senses, and the vital force or living entity have forms, although they are not visible to the naked eye. So remember I was saying it's very subtle. As you go to the original Pradhan level, they are very subtle. They don't even, that's why it's manifest and unmanifest. From Pradhan, when it comes to Mahatma, it's manifesting different level, becoming more and more gross. Yeah. So the form rests in subtle existence in the sky. So now you can see this gross form, but there is already a form in the sky. We can't see that. And internally it is perceived as the veins within the body and the circulation of the vital air. The blood is moving, air is moving inside. That is where you can say, ether is in our body.
Right? Ether can be equated with space.
This Prabhupada writes as space, but it's not really space.
Spiritual sky.
Huh?
The spiritual sky.
Yeah, that's why the ether and sky interchangeably is used for no? They are not same, right?
He uses space, no?
Ether is space.
Yeah.
Sky is the sky.
Yes, sky is different from ether. Ether is space. That's the difference. Prabhupada uses.
It's not vacuum.
It's ether.
From this came fear, right?
Calm.
Ether came here, from
The-
here
the-
came fire.
What I thought was, because see, there is for sound to travel, you need air.
Yeah.
So ether, the air is, then there is something ether. So ether,
From ether, sound comes out. the subtle element of ether is sound.
But I also heard like within the sky, the ether has a form. The ether is within the.
No.
No, that's sky.
We are reading here now. Sky is below ether,
Ether, right?
right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Come.
Calm, mano, buddhi. Yeah,
Calm is ether.
yes, calm is it. So I know it as calm, but what that is, some people say space, some people say vacuum.
Yeah, it can't be vacuum because
It's
the
not
sound
vacuum.
will not travel.
Well, we don't know. They say they don't.
But
But
it can be. If we take our own universe, outside the Earth,
Sound doesn't travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
it's within our world, sky, within the enclosure. The
Yeah.
air is required for that.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. That's
That's
what
why
I'm saying.
Brahma didn't hear to the air or to this one. He had to
Heart.
hard,
heart. That means he can
fallen, you know. We
Manda
can't,
Sumanda Mate.
yeah. So accept it for now, you know. And like Prabhupada says, you know, for if you don't understand what false is, we cannot argue about it. Because there are people who says we are pure soul. How can we become covered by something? It's not like that. So Lord's potencies are powerful. They can do that, and they can cover us.
Prabhu actually just an anecdote like
Yeah, yeah.
totally different topics.
Oh.
Today I was reading so Ravi Shankar,
Mm-hmm.
he has given I think yesterday or day before yesterday, he has given some talk in Bangalore or somewhere. Somebody had posted it somewhere and then I was reading today and then somebody asked the question, why is there no temples for Lord Brahma? So his answer is, Lord Brahma is done with his work, and Vishnu and Lord Shiva, they still have work to do. That's why we find temples. That's not the answer.
What
That's why that Muslim fellow Jakir or whoever defeated him. in
of
debate.
course, because he doesn't have
Yeah,
a
he
good.
did.
Yeah.
People have asked him so many questions,
Hmm.
and for all the questions, the answers are something like this. Actually.
But why
Very
we should
vague.
eat? But we should eat.
So he's told Brahma is done with his work. There's no temple. And
That's just a witty remark. It's not an answer.
Yeah, it's everything.
When the people also don't know anything.
Yeah, it's just a witty remark. It's not an answer. We have the answer. Prabhupada says.
Brahma is still there. How you
Still
know?
doing his work.
Universe is
Let's see, you know, how many cheaters are like that.
no, so many people follow him.
Yeah, but he's a cheater.
So clear now.
He's a cheater. It's just charisma, you know.
Bhagavatam was telling last time that somebody asked, "Are you God?" And he said, "We have doubts."
Ravi Shankar. He thinks he's God.
Yeah,
He
of
says
course, that's
Obviously,
very
so you take a stick and beat the guy up and then say, why you're God, you can't protect yourself. Rascal.
That's what Prabhupada did.
Hmm?
That's what Prabhupada did.
So like people ask him so many questions.
And
For
he always
all the
answers
questions,
some smart answer.
Yeah, something weird answer.
Yeah.
Roundabout.
Because they don't read the scripture. They come in
Yeah.
with their own fertile imagination. Whatever they know, they only know from some other crazy guys. Right? This is a parampara of crazy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very surprising, Prabhu. The friend who posted this, he's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
He's from IIT Madras.
Yeah.
And he came here, he studied in Stanford, and he went back. Very, very intelligent guy.
No, materially intelligent.
That's a different.
very, very
So
intelligent.
he is, I think he is
Following him.
following.
Yeah, so but then you should defeat him. Quote from Prabhupada and say, this guy is a rascal.
Yeah, you can share.
Yeah.
Prabhupada.
You just share and say, you know, according to the scripture, Krishna says, Evam Parampara Praptam. Where is this guy's guru? Who's his guru? Why is he connected to Krishna?
He may be angry with you, but at least he'll get
You
the
should
knowledge.
never give up the opportunity to
Rich.
preach Krishna consciousness.
And reply.
Yeah, reply and smash the guy up. Say, this guy is a nonsense. Because we have scripture clearly states Puranas why Brahma is not. Remember he got cursed and things like that? Yeah, that's why. It's not because of the stupid nonsense. It's not rascal.
weird.
Yeah, just
He's
sometimes
done
you
it
argue
before.
with a teenager, they'll give you a smart.
No,
That's exactly what he did.
No, but even he has done his work, but Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even I don't have a work, but I do the work, my duties. No, you didn't practice it like in this world when he comes.
Yeah. Okay, then Prabhupada makes us understand about this ether. Externally, there are invisible forms of sense objects. So there is another thing. The production of invisible sense objects is the external activity of the ethereal element. Remember, there is senses also in that we can't see now. We can't see because they are on the subtle level. And the circulation of vital air and blood in its internal activity. The subtle form exists in the ether has been proven by modern science by transmission of television, by which forms of photograph of one place are transmitted to another place by the action of the ethereal element. So the element ethereal is still there in this space. Even here we exist. And that's like you're doing wireless and all those things. It's using this. The science technology is using this, but how it's been transmitted is through the ether. Has to be, otherwise how it's going. Yeah. So this is a scientific, in a sense. Yeah? We are not very technically inclined, so we cannot explain that. Yeah?
So this could be the ultrasound and
Yeah, so many
high
things.
frequency.
Yeah, high frequency sounds, ultra waves, sound, all those things.
Jagadish Chandra Bose did a lot of research and he found so many different kind of waves.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Prabhupada says this verse is the potential basis of a great scientific research work. So he's telling devotees who are scientific can use this. For it explains how subtle forms are generated from the ethereal element, what their characteristics and actions are, and how the tangible elements, namely air, fire, water, and earth, are manifested from the subtle form. So from the subtle, it comes air. Air you can feel already. And from air, fire comes, you can see. And from fire, water comes, you can feel. And then taste. And then from that comes earth, you can smell it. Like that. From subtle to gross. So then Prabhupada also gives us another understanding of this. And mental activity, psychological actions of thinking, feeling, and willing are also activities on the platform of ethereal existence. So when you're thinking and all those, it's on that ethereal platform. Somehow we have been engaged and put into this to use this subtle material elements as well as gross. And we are spiritual.
So this mind intelligence are not really repositing this body, is it, Prabhu? Is it in space? Like for example, individually.
It is both.
Okay.
It's both. It's that our mind is this mind, brain, mind, whatever, can go in and out. So that's why sometimes people can read your mind.
And when somebody enters the room, sometimes it becomes negative because they may have some negative
Okay,
thoughts.
negative
it
thoughts or
lowers
whatever.
everything.
So it affects from the ether to the gross. Yes. So yes.
So part of it is within the body and part of it can
Means the soul can, using whatever we've been made, the technology can
access
there. That's the word. Access both outside as well as what we need. Yeah. So in one sense, yeah, universal. Some people can say they can read 10 people's mind at the same time like that. So they can access.
And yogis also can travel through mind to different.
The yogis also, that's how the yogis can know what is in your mind, because it's accessible for them.
So the Prapti Siddhi is also through ether.
Ether. Prapti Siddhi, everything is ether. It's they have that ability, which is because they can control all the pranas and everything. They can actually manipulate material energy to some extent, from limited to their physical body. So therefore they can travel and so on.
So when the Pandavas went through that axle of the universe to higher realms, That's also could be there.
I don't know whether it's all Pandavas or just Arjuna went.
Arjuna and
Only
Krishna.
Arjuna.
Yeah. But that's yogic, you know. Yoga means to control all these things, you know, ability. But it's limited, no? Limited to that jiva. And when they are becoming more powerful, they can take one or two people, you know. They can't do that. Not like Krishna can do it. Everybody.
So again, going back to his example, so persons like Ravi Shankar, they have obviously have some technique to manipulate other people's minds.
Well,
Attract money.
basically it's charisma, no? So he may have first of all, he is a former actor. So by default, he's God status, right?
Who is that? He was an actor?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
He's
actually
art of
my-
living.
He
Who?
is
Art of living.
Art of living.
Who's that? Ravi
Pandit
Shankar?
Ravi Shankar.
Not Pandit Ravi.
Not Pandit,
Not
this is-
Pandit. Yeah, he's my friend.
He's
He's
a
musician. He's my friend's uncle actually.
Ravi Shankar, I think, was an actor.
Oh, they are named same Prabhu.
Yeah. And he does the pravachan.
Yes.
Art of living.
Right.
Art
So,
of living.
well, I don't know whether Art of Living or not, but I have to see the picture. This guy from.
Yeah,
very-
like,
He has a long hair.
long
Beard.
I have to look at the picture. But I know from when I was a little boy, there used to be an actor called Ravi
Because in
Shankar.
the same name, they have a musician or someone.
Anyway, that's not very bad. So anyway, they manipulate. Okay, they manipulate people's. No, not this guy. There's another guy, Ravi Shankar, also who does pravachan also.
He is the most popular.
Now he is
Three Sris?
No, two Shris.
Two Sris.
Jaggi was there.
Short
Jaggi
term
was
is
there, that's another-
Now we have to all take bath in the Ganges because we talked about him.
Chant the high holy name.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
He appeared
He's
in
smiling. He's smiling.
No, these
Don't
guys
try
are
much.
bogus.
He was defeated
Yeah,
by
Prabhupada.
Zakir Naik. That
Yeah, I
Muslim
heard.
guy.
Yeah.
He was defeated, right?
was defeated.
Because he has no knowledge. No? These
Yeah.
are all this.
Once he was given a Bhagavad Gita copy. He said, "I don't read books at all."
Yeah.
For years, he is not reading. It seems.
Oh,
So
It's all
you can
spiritual
understand
basis.
everything
it's
is
all
coming.
speculation then. It's all
Yeah, because they are so smart.
figure out. things.
Whatever people talk, they are very intelligent enough to twist it.
There's most of them are like that. They will just
Twist the thing.
roundabout.
Yeah,
Just-
roundabout.
they
That's
can't
all
just-
Mayavadi techniques.
So sincere people will not get attracted by it. By
No,
Prabhu,
that's
only
what they
people
got
which
stuck.
who want to be cheated. will
Yes,
get attracted.
generally people are attracted to that that's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that's God.
Mm.
This guy is not going to talk about God. He's talking about something, and it feels good, you know. They all go there, you know, just like in church,
Positive
big
thinking.
church. Everybody go
No, but
positive thinking.
some of the innocent people also get trapped with these
So
guys.
many.
No, but innocent people, if they're sincerely looking for
Then
God, they
they'll-
will also, Krishna will help them. They'll meet devotees and stuff like that, if they are sincere. If they don't meet devotees, then they are not sincere.
Let's do it.
Change your vision.
Yeah, Prabhupada.
Okay, that's
All right, so it's so therefore we need to, our mental faculties also must be thinking of Krishna stuff. Otherwise, we will access things that are not Krishna conscious. Which you see, your mind is going, right? You'll see where your mind always focuses on, right? Do you see or you don't see? You're so immersed in some transcendence or something. But if you're,
outside.
I mean, you all should be able to. You're not young anymore. What is it when you're usually at the time of you're getting up? Where's your mind focusing? You try and see next time. Catch where your mind is.
Catch your mind.
Catch your mind. Then you see, my God, such a rascal mind.
Everything but Krishna.
Prabhupada writes there in one purport. I can't remember. He said when at the sleeping time, waking time, that's when your mind is focused on what you are
Most attached.
attached to. Like. So you have to start practicing. That's why he suggests reading Krishna book and then
That's before
sleeping
sleeping.
and like that. So at least your mind.
Dushtamana.
Or you dream about devotees and you get up. So when you get up, first thing you have to do is try to think of the deities and stuff like that. You purify yourself. You can train your kids also. You know, before they sleep, you say, think of Krishna. Okay, now you close your eyes. And when you wake them up, you say, wake them up. Okay, say Hare Krishna. Think of Krishna. Can you remember Krishna? And then practice.
Hari got into the habit of reading Krishna book during night,
Okay.
off late. But Sri Lakshmi doesn't do that.
But you can ask her question.
Request.
Is she following
Yeah, Prabhu is following him.
you? Same example keeps coming back.
That you
Yes. So therefore, thinking, willing, and feeling. If you are thinking of material things, it's going to manifest because it's through the ether, and from ether the whole creation, material creation comes.
That's probably why sometimes our preaching is also not effective, because we are saying one thing but our
Thinking of
people are
material
accessing
things.
our thinking, and they're saying this fellow is also like us.
Well, that's what purity is, no?
Hmm.
Maybe said like if it's a pure devotee, let's say caliber of Srila Prabhupada, the whole three worlds are purified. I mean, his presence is felt in three worlds. And then I've read somewhere when someone is in a bodhisattva level, he is the whole planet he affects like that. And someone who's slightly less, he affects like 80 miles or 8 miles consciousness. Huh?
The Buddha.
Yeah, like, I mean, means you are not just Buddhas, they say like that, which means you are at that purified level. So if you are always materially thinking, and then you're right, you're going to preach, the effectiveness is not there because you contaminated yourself. You know?
But we have to preach as well, right? That's
Yes, you have to.
So
He's talking about effectiveness.
Yeah, so this dilemma comes when you read DYS or Bhakti Gita. Some of the statements we don't have realization, but we have faith because Prabhupada said.
Okay.
So we just say.
All right. Then I ask you, what is your faith? You say, okay, your faith is up to what level? You just accept and then do it, or do you meditate on that?
Yeah. So we said I still not realized it, but one day it will kind of.
Yeah, but then we don't go back to it, right? Let's say you come to something and say, Prabhupada says this, then do you really in your heart say,
yeah, that's internalization.
Yes, do you do that? Yeah, so that is what is required for all of us. If you internalize, then you are trying your best, actually. Yeah. Once we try, Prabhupada said, I really can't understand why, why am I so fallen and contaminated, right? Why I can't taste the holy name? Why?
That's the definition of the Madhyamadikari, who has strong faith in scripture, but sometimes is unable to defend. But at least we should have strong faith in scripture, otherwise we fall back to what we are in your
but if you just take for granted, that's it, but then you don't think about it, then you're not moving up. That's my point. Why are you just remaining in that platform?
Accepting and trying to follow it, acting on it.
Yeah. Okay, text 35. Navasha Shabda Tanmatra Kalagatya Vikurvataha Sparsho Bhavattato Vayus Swaksparshasya Cha Sangraha. From ethereal existence, which evolves from sound, the next transformation takes place under the impulse of time, and thus the subtle element touch, and thence the air and sense of touch become prominent. Element touch, air, touch, sense of touch. Yeah, skin, you can say that. So these are all, transformation coming down to more and more gross level. Yeah.
So if I may, Prabhu, on this same topic, I know we spent a lot of time.
Yes.
The Aurobindo Ashram in San Diego,
Yeah.
they are doing a lot of research on consciousness. They will go through the whole Sankhya. They are writing a lot of papers which are being published by University of California, Berkeley, and
you see, it's fine, but what is it based on? If it's based on material point of view, then it's not going to help you as much.
I'm not talking about us, but people are getting influenced, right? If you say, if I did a Google search consciousness, first thing is their research papers come.
Yeah.
We haven't published anything to.
Well, we do have, but we are not at the same level as these people are. Where they are pushing, they have so much support and so on. But we have you in our BI, they have done all these things. You can write to them. The devotees and ask for papers. They have submitted in so many conferences, also symposiums and so on. So yeah, it is there.
Is that accessible to everybody?
Huh?
Are they accessible to everybody, those papers?
If it's public, you should be able to.
I found one of them, like it was from India.
Yeah.
So somebody working with BI, they
Yes.
published in one of the symposium in India in IIT or someplace.
Yeah.
So that some Basu or somebody, that is accessible on the internet.
So you like Prabhupada stressed so many times in purpose and that we should be doing research on this in public.
Yes, therefore these devotees are doing it. You can write to BI in Bombay or somewhere, right? I don't know who's heading them.
Bhaktivedanta Institute.
Or is multiple of them.
We had that.
What is that devotee's name? Raja? No.
Rasaraj Prabhu.
No, Rasaraj.
I have heard his lectures on YouTube also.
So you can write to him and then ask him for papers that you can read online or whatever.
Because that appeals more to the scientific crowd.
Exactly. So that's why I don't see how you guys are going to use it.
That's true.
Yeah, you're going to meet normal people or even less than normal. So, so then you're going to talk about some technical thing. It's not going to. It's already difficult for us.
Once Vedna and Prabhu tried this with, he's talked about the whole 24 elements Sankhya to one of his students, and the fellow was bewildered totally. So then he came back to normal stuff.
Yeah, you relate to what our senses can perceive. Most people are on the gross level. You have to preach on that level.
So does prasadam also affect on the ethereal level?
All the way, no? Prasadam is transcendental. So all the way.
Okay. So Manomaya to Anandamaya level.
All the way. The reason why you take prasadam is what? What the Prabhupada said in 3rd chapter.
Purifies
The senses.
Purify your sinful activity. And that also, that's the benefit.
So sorry to ask this, Prabhu. For the last 10 years, we have been giving free prasadam in our My Sweet Thought restaurant in
Yes,
Seattle.
yes.
But I went recently, they are as argumentative as they were before and they are as aggressive as they were before.
Maybe it's the way you are approaching it. Maybe you are argumentative.
And they might not be the same people.
Yeah, but still, it's the way you see, when you want to fight with somebody, they will fight you, right? When you are loving to someone, they will be loving towards you. Unless they've gone through a very difficult time, then they may not show affection so easily. But the point is, how are you approaching the whole topic? How are you introducing Krishna consciousness to it?
More depends on us.
Yeah, so if you like going in that, you say, we are the only one, no, you forget it, no, it's finished. We lost the battle.
No, I don't think we even present very high philosophy there.
It depends, it's just how you come across, right? If you in your heart, like you said, in your mind, you think you're better than them, that's it. You can't preach it. The whole thing, preaching means compassion. So unless you come as towards a person in compassionate mood, you can't preach to them. That's why the best way for us to preach is to give books. Because that way they don't have sense your negativeness.
So once I tried to give the book, immediately the fellow got up and he left it. Because he doesn't want to be influenced by
That's
it.
okay, at least the whole thing is you have to be nice to people, and then you see if they're not interested, then you did what you could. Text 36. Mridutvam katinatvam cha saityam ushnatvam eva cha etat sparshasya sparshatvam tanmatratvam navasvatah. Softness and hardness and cold and heat are the distinguishing attributes of touch, which is characterized as the subtle form of air. So all these are tactile senses, and it's coming from the air. Text 37. Chalanam vyuhanam praptir netritvam dravya shabdayo sarvindriyanam atmatvam vayo karma vilakshanam. The action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other sense perceptions, and providing for the proper functioning of all other senses. So here you say the what air does within a body, okay? Some of its functions. I'm not going to go into that. Air is vata in the human body. So it's very important. If vata is deranged, then a lot of things cannot function properly. Kapha and pitta is the fire element and the water mucus element, like that. They are lesser. If fire is disturbed, every other disease is very hard to cure. That's what I've known.
So fire is
Kapha.
kapha.
Fire is pitta.
Fire is pitta.
Yeah.
Kapha is weak.
Kapha is mucus.
Pitta.
Vata is air. Vaya in
That's only 3 doshas.
my grandmother would keep saying vadam, because of vadam.
Is
They
the
have
air.
a leg and leg
Yeah.
problem.
As you get old, vata is more disturbed. So therefore you have knee joint pains and all those things.
Vadam.
Mental problem, all those air element. And you can hear because of air element in this. Even though sound is produced from ether. In the last sentence, a couple of Prabhupada says, it is clearly said in this verse that these are all movements of the air. The ability to detect odors is also due to the action of the air. Okay, so there are many things. Air is required. Very important. So the whole material body is dependent on all these elements. Not just, we cannot say we don't need this.
So from subtle to gross means ether, air, fire.
We went through that.
Yeah, so it's subtle to gross.
Yeah.
Air is now we are talking about.
Yes, then he's describing some of the things that air does. Text 38. All these are just combination, from the false ego combined with the modes and then with the ether and all those things are coming. The agitation of the false ego causes these things, right?
It's interesting for like Parishit Maharaj is 7 days, but there's quite a bit of time spent on technical subject matter.
Yeah.
7 days.
He's asking. 7 days, 24 hours, They're not sleeping or anything.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, right? They didn't sleep.
Yeah, they didn't eat drinks.
Yeah.
7 days is very fast for it to understand.
No, 7 days is fast if you eat and sleep, but you're just sitting and listening and talking.
Still, I don't think I can understand 7 days. Even
Yeah, that's right. You can't understand because we are not at that level.
You can understand how advanced their culture
Yeah.
is.
That's what you can. That's why you have to understand that we are not
And
advanced.
he sees everything connected to Krishna. That's the amazing thing, actually.
Yeah, they are seeing it how it's connected to Krishna. We can't see it yet. Text 38. Vayuscha sparsha tanmatra rupam daiveritat abod sammuttitam tatastejas chakshurupopalambanam. By interactions of the air and the sensations of touch, one receives different forms according to destination. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eye sees different forms in color. See how this? It's all connected. So it's due to your past karma. One gets a particular
Nice.
body or form. And then within that body or form, you get different features. Like that. Prabhupada says, needless to say, a living entity transmigrates from one form to another. His form changes according to destiny and by the arrangement of a superior authority which controls the interaction of air and the mental situation. Text 39. Dravya krititvam gunata vyakte samstatvam cha tejastvam tejasa sadvi rupamatrasya vrittaya. Translation. My dear mother, the characteristics of form are understood by dimension, quality, and individuality. So now you are seeing structure coming in, like he says, dimension. That means it's getting more and more gross. And the form of fire is appreciated by its effulgence. So now a form that we appreciate has its particular dimension and characteristics. And then the quality of a particular object is appreciated by its utility. Right? Then Prabhupada says about sound. But the form of sound is independent. Forms which are invisible can be understood only by touch. That is the independent appreciation of invisible form. Visible forms are understood by analytical study of their constitution. The constitution of a certain object is appreciated by its internal action. For example, the form of salt is appreciated by the interaction of salty taste. And the form of sugar, sweet taste. Taste and qualitative constitution are the basic principles in understanding the form of an object.
So it's not just what we see, it's like what we feel like about that object.
Yeah, that's why it says in the beginning, right? Utility.
Well, I didn't understand the third sentence. The fourth sentence.
Yeah.
Forms which are invisible can be understood only by touch.
Like air.
Like air, yeah. But other than that, we can't understand.
He says sound is different. Sound is an ether. No? That's why he says form of sound is independent. Okay?
Ghost touching us.
How can you
Because
feel
it's a very subtle thing. Sound is on a subtle thing. And the way you feel sound is through air.
Yeah.
Through medium.
Right?
And air is the for me a sense of touch.
Yes, and air is a medium for touch. So sometimes you have a big speaker, the sound they blow, you stand in front, you can feel the vibration on you.
Basically, form of sound is like the waves, right? You put it in the waves, like the how the.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether that's the form or not, but it gives us a certain appreciation. Waves, yeah.
I also
Like
heard
in a
like
modulator, sometimes it's pitch, high pitch.
Right. Based on that, you can say that's what sound is. Yeah.
I heard like big speaker keeping near the window, and if the sound is too high volume, the window glasses can crack.
Yeah, but our point is it's going through the air is the medium.
So it feels something, and then it
Yeah.
can be break.
Exactly. But on its own, you cannot feel it. We can only feel through our touch of skin, and that is element of air. Touch is the element of air. Okay. Sound is in ether, and that's why we can touch our mind through
Holy name.
sound, chanting through the ear. Get it? It's all connected. So that's why we chant, to touch the mind and the intelligence. They're all on another level.
Actually, the soul tries to connect to Krishna, spiritual. In that sense, it is connecting transcendental. Mind is still matter. When we are chanting, it's actually on spiritual platform.
Yes.
In that sense, soul is connecting to Krishna.
It is trying to connect. But if you are not focused on connecting, then you're not connecting. But what's happening is you're still purifying, because Prabhupada says many times, I've read, he says, Shoshanam Shudrid Evacha. Fire is appreciated by its light and by its ability to cook, to digest, to destroy, coal, to evaporate, and to give rise to hunger, thirst, eating, and drinking. So all these are due to fire. When you understand all properly, you see acid in the stomach is fire, actually. All right, that is Agni in a different mode. We never think like that, but then once you start reading, you understand now what is fire. Thirst, that means the fire is drying you up and you are thirsty. Eating, the fire has burnt up everything from your stomach and is hungry. Right? And then externally, fire is light, and fire is the fire to cook, like that Prabhupada gives. Okay? And then you use the heater for our warming us.
Dead person becomes cold because there is no fire.
Yeah, dead person is cold because there's no fire in them. That's true. So we need all this for the body to sustain in this lowest level of gross existence. You need fire to separate the nutrition, everything, from the different food stuff you eat, and then it can be processed to sustain nourishment in the stomach.
We are so dependent. We are so dependent
on everything. The whole creation, we are dependent on this. So we are not independent at any stage. Just imagine, just because we didn't want to serve Krishna, now we are
trying to understand again.
Have to understand through such a difficult way. No? So if you have good fire, then you can digest anything and then you won't get sick. And fire in the stomach is bile, liver. The pitta is that region. No? Bile, supposed to be like that.
That's why actually if you don't eat, you can feel an acidity.
Yes. Or if the acidity, or if you have heartburn and all, it's because your digestive fire is out of place. So it's coming up. Or it goes down too much into your small intestine. Text 41. Rupamatra vikurvana Tejaso daiva chodita Rasamatram abhuttasmat Ambo jiva rasagra. By the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. So, interaction of fire and the visual sensation, sight, then the taste is coming from that. and it's under a superior arrangement. Krishna. Interesting, no? Because what is the superior arrangement?
So what is the visual sensation? By the interaction of fire and
Fire
the
and
visual
form.
sensation.
Fire is form.
The visual, what is the form that you see? No?
But then how is that related to taste?
By the arrangement of a superior. I don't know.
That's how it is. No question of why.
So they are interacting, and then somehow, how, I don't know here. Maybe it's in somewhere I may have forgotten. But
I heard like water comes after fire, right?
but that's not what we are talking about.
But taste comes from.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this. From taste, water is produced. So taste comes first, then water seems to be produced. And then tongue is the organ of taste.
Water
These
is
are all
element.
subtle things.
Water is element. Taste is
Subtle. It's on a subtle level. Taste is on a subtle level.
The tongue is gross.
Tongue is gross.
It's all about food.
Taste.
Yeah, all about food.
So it's arranged by a Lord from the interaction of fire element.
Sometimes you don't have taste on the tongue. That's because of the illness in the stomach.
Possible.
That also happens.
Yeah, because your fire is not working, you can't taste. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the concept.
Because when you have cold in general, you cannot taste. And cold is because there is not enough fire in the body.
Now, in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada doesn't say it's for tasting. He says it's an instrument for acquiring knowledge of taste. The jiva uses that knowledge to enjoy.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Because the taste perception is coming from your past life or karma.
Yes.
That's how you can relate, right? You eat gulab jamun.
Yes.
Eat the chapati, the
But that's in the mind.
the mind. So the mind is the one. So that's why it is related to the visual sensation.
No speculation.
That's speculation.
There's a lighter side. Lighter side of this joke.
Yeah.
A person could taste anything
Yes.
for many days. Then he went to a doctor. He said, I can't taste any food or even water. So he said, open your mouth. So he opened his mouth. He said, oh, there's nothing in it. Just take the stamp out. There was a stamp.
There's a stamp on it.
Nonsense.
Getting the stamp and
Alright, we'll take a break, 10 minutes, and then we'll start again. Can chant your Gayatri. The modes of material nature. That's what the whole idea is. And the principle behind it is he's not claiming proprietorship. Okay? So proprietorship, who's the proprietor?
Krishna.
Krishna, Bhaktaram. So remember that, no? And therefore, because he's not claiming anything fruitive results also, he's not taking all that. But although abiding in the material embodiments, he still is embodied. But he's following all the rules of devotional practices. So that is just like the sun. Okay? Which is, even though it's reflected on water, it's not affected. That's what it is. So again, Prabhupada quotes the verse Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajna. Prabhupada says, although he may be appearing in the material world, he's actually situated in transcendental platform. Okay. Our service is to actually dovetail our propensities for the pleasure of Krishna. Yeah.
So this, what does this mean, Prabhu? It becomes just like sun reflected on water.
That's what I just said. No? Even though sun is reflected on the water, it's not affected by the water. Yeah. So as a devotee, even though you are in the material world, but you because focus on the transcendental connection with Krishna, there's no reaction. Okay, like that. I mean, this whole Prabhupada is an explanation which Prabhupada has mentioned many times. So Prabhupada towards the end says, when one does something at his own risk, there's a sense of proprietorship and therefore a reaction. Okay. But when one does everything for Krishna, there's no proprietorship over the activities. It is, Prabhupada writes it very simply. It means you don't try to
Take control.
enjoy or control these things. That's what his main thing. We do it as a service, but you don't do it as for yourselves. That's why he says at your own risk. Then there's no Krishna involved. You are on your own, at your own risk.
So can this include spiritual activities also?
Huh?
Can this include spiritual activities also?
What do you mean? This is for...
Definitely.
No, if you're thinking that I'm doing it, instead of doing it for Krishna, then you're also entangled there.
No, you will be thinking I'm doing for Krishna, no?
If you don't think like that, it's dangerous.
Then it's not good for you. You know, the point is, if you're doing a material activity and thinking I'm doing it for myself, my family, then it's binding.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it as a service for your family, thinking I'm a devotee, I will serve my family, this is what they need, like that, but you're not attached to those things. Whatever is required for their livelihood, you give. Like, you know, they may need a shoe, so you buy the shoe for them because that's what they need. But then there are people who say, Daddy, I want a shoe. Then the father will think, no, I must get my son a special shoe that can fly like that. You know? So that means he's over endeavoring and he's not thinking about necessities. This is now more than the necessity. Right? Sometimes the child will say, oh, you know, I'm 18 years old, buy me a car. So the father can say, okay, I'll buy you a car. But then he can just get a second-hand car until the son or daughter drives okay. No, they'll buy brand new. Right? So many families I've seen, you know, brand new. Better than their own father's car, right? And then it actually is an endeavor. It's a fruitive thing, these things. So it should be, utility should be the principle. Prabhupada mentions it, you know, you just use it for what is meant to use for, not for anything. So guys, over-endeavoring all those things. So similarly, in when we understand, because devotees now we should understand everything we should do should eventually, ultimately please Krishna. So then how you are going to connect your children, your family, your car, everything in the service of Krishna. So that's a challenge for most of us. You know, it's a challenge because, like you say, no, you're working 8 hours a day. You can't think like that. But then you have to figure out how my job is connected to Krishna. Yeah, right? That's the art. You have to think. You have to figure out. Okay, I'm working 8 hours a day, but then so that I can pay the bills, so that my family and all we can serve Krishna nicely, like that. If that's how your thinking process is, then you're connecting to Krishna, the job you're doing. But otherwise, you're not.
Otherwise, it's binding.
Otherwise, it's binding. You're thinking, oh, I need to do this. Then you become more worried. Anxiety. Yeah. Okay, so then continue. By changelessness and by not claiming the proprietorship of activities, one can immediately situate himself in the transcendental position in which one is not touched by the modes of material nature, just as the reflection of the sun is unaffected by water. Okay? Text 2. Sa esha yarhi prakritre Guneshva vishajyate ahankriya vimuddatma kartasmiti avimanyate. Very similar to the verse.
Ahankara vimudha.
Yeah. So when the soul is under the spell of material nature and false ego, again, identifying his body as the self, he becomes absorbed in material activities. And by the influence of false ego, he thinks that he's the proprietor of it. He thinks he's the controller. He thinks he's doing it. So Prabhupada says the same thing, Prakriti Kriyamana. So we are supposed to work only for the pleasure of Krishna, the devotees, like that. Text 3. Tena sansara padavim avasho biyate anirvrita prasangikai karma dosai sattasan mishrayonishu. The conditioned soul, therefore, transmigrates into different species of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work. So faulty work means?
Attached to it.
Yeah. Attached to the results, attached to sense. Sometimes, you dream, you won goal, and then you went to a zoo, you saw some tiger, then you dream a golden tiger, like that, yeah. Like that, so many things. Yeah? So therefore, due to different mental conditions, in dreams we are put into advantageous and disadvantageous positions. Similarly, the spirit soul has nothing to do with this material nature, but because of his mentality of lording it over. Lording it over means we want to enjoy, separate from Krishna. So therefore, we are put in this conditional existence. So then Prabhupada says this conditional existence is like a poison, no? Dhyayato Vishayan Asya. Vishaya means an object of enjoyment. Vishaya Kainu. Narottama Das Thakur says. As long as one continues to think that he can enjoy material advantages, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he comes to his senses, he develops the knowledge that he is not the enjoyer. For the only enjoyer is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And again, Prabhupada quotes that verse, Muktaram Yaga Tapasam. Because we are not the proprietor. To awaken our intelligence to this level, to see that you are not the controller, you are not the proprietor, is a challenge for all of us. Because we are associating more with the modes of material nature every day. And so we're thinking, I'm doing everything. And so it becomes a challenge. So the practices of sadhana bhakti help you to come to the stage. So maybe when you are trying to balance everything and if you are sincere, then you find things don't go right. Everything is always going wrong. So then that is a wake-up call for us by maybe Krishna is telling us, this material world is temporary. Why are you trying to be happy here? Yeah. So then once you realize, all those difficulties may stop. So sometimes if you are very Krishna conscious, then there is no more material anxiety. But if we are not so Krishna conscious, then we are having a lot of material anxiety. Right? What is our anxiety actually?
Fear of death.
Well, fear of death, but really, what is your anxiety?
Expectations not
Generally
met.
future.
Huh?
Generally people worry about future, like kids and all this.
Kids, all these are material things I'm saying. Whatever your anxiety now is, it's all material. If you analyze carefully, isn't it?
Never spiritual.
Yeah. You just analyze nicely, you will see, yeah. So the practice of your sadhana bhakti must lead you to understand your situation.
Because otherwise, that thing can be possible. You can think with fear of losing the control over things.
Yeah. But generally in the day to day, you're not thinking like that, control of things. You're thinking of what I need, what I have to get, like that. Yeah. Mostly that's what you're doing, Oh, I have to pay bills, all those kind of things. I have to go, my boss will be waiting, I have to meet some deadlines, like that. Isn't it? What else do you think of?
Pratishtha.
Okay, okay, then that is working. Then when you come to temple, it's
Again Pratishtha.
pratishtha, fame, who's recognizing me, who thinks I'm good. No, it's true. You will see. That's why I say when you're following nicely, and then you see your thinking process where it goes. You want people to recognize you, put you up in the pedestal. You want to be your guru, right?
Mine always.
No, that's due to our lack of Krishna consciousness. Because we are socially material nature, then Prabhupada is lording it over. So therefore, you want that recognition. Who's following me? Who's my follower? Who's my supporter? These are all material mentality. You see, right, in material world, it's like in spiritual world, they're all fighting to serve Krishna. Actually, they don't fight. They all cooperate to serve Krishna. So here is all fighting. That's the difference. You need to...
Krishna is not the center.
Yeah, here Krishna is not center. It's I am the center. I need this. Why are you threatening my position? Isn't that fame, position, and
Puja Labh Pratishtha.
what is that?
Amen.
Adornment.
And followers. Distinction followers. So Prabhupada's point is, you can do whatever you want, but you will never be happy because you can't enjoy. The only person who can really enjoy is Krishna. Krishna is the only enjoyer. And if we try to enjoy, we are actually false enjoyers or false proprietor. Because we are not the proprietor. So therefore we cannot enjoy. Everything belongs to Krishna. Okay? So Prabhupada says the only friend is Krishna. Now, all of you, in your own experiences, you have friends, right? So, and your friends will call and talk to you about their difficulties, or you will call them, talk to them, right? Or you will call to talk about something you did amazing or got promotion. First thing you do is your friend. But we never call our friends to talk about how's your Krishna conscious. I read something in the Bhagavatam. Why is it was an amazing verse? We don't. Because we don't have the taste yet. Understand? We haven't come to that level. So the practice, again, I'll bring your thoughts back to sadhana bhakti. It's very important. You all have to develop now. You're not getting younger, So you need to start now. Otherwise, it's pointless even going or claiming to be vanaprastha and this. Because you're still struggling with your own sadhana, If you struggle, you can't really help other people, Yeah. I mean, you will be able to help somewhat, but not enough, The best thing is you give someone Krishna consciousness and you see them grow as a good devotee, and then you feel real pleasure because the Lord is happy in your heart. But you don't claim that because you're not the instrument. You are the instrument, but not the person who actually they decided to be devotee, but you help them. That's all. Yeah. So you cannot claim that. You can say, Krishna, thank you for allowing me to be an instrument in your service. That you can take pleasure. Please continue to make me your instrument. So then for you to pray like that, then Krishna has to be your best friend, right? Because you only call your friends for something. So same way, how often we relate to Krishna like that?
Even Prabhupada was praying the same way in Jaladhara. Make me dance at once.
Yeah. So you have to make, every day you chant, and then after you finish, you pray to Krishna and say, Krishna, I tried my best today. I know I wasn't successful, but please allow me to chant better tomorrow. Or guide me so I don't make mistakes and forget that I should chant nicely. This is what we need to work on, The Prabhupada says the best service is to awaken people's Krishna consciousness. So if you can bring, you may not be the best devotee, but if you can at least bring them to Krishna, to the devotees, connect them, that's good enough actually. But you don't take credit, yes. Don't take proprietorship. The devotees have this problem. Huh? I've seen it. It's not like it's not happening. They take devotees, they cultivate, and then they don't let them associate with anyone else except themselves.
Like my group.
My group. And then they talk to someone, they say, why are you going to talk to him? It's a neophyte mentality. As long as you give them Krishna, you'll be happy. How? And then you pray and hope that they become good devotees. That's it. You cannot control anyone in this material world, actually. First of all, you can't control your own mind. What to speak of someone else. Okay, text 5.